evening, everyone. Researchers at Something.For.Everyone University. We had a great discussion today about writing as a career. I'm honored here today to be a part of the Edutrac exhibition. And I'm grateful for Edutrac for inviting Oman Book Lovers Club, the community partner. I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce Oman Book Lovers Club. So this was founded a couple of years ago by my friend Vaishali. And it's now connecting almost 10,000 members here in Oman. We have a library for free borrowing. It has up to 8,000 plus books available for free sharing. So it was based on connecting all readers, authors, bookstores, all book lovers in Oman. You can find us on Facebook, all social media platforms. We have a lot of events, a lot of workshops for all ages. And it is a great opportunity to cultivate reading for kids that start from 4 years old up to adults. So we have a lot of events and workshops and a lot of activities going on at Oman Book Lovers Club. So getting back to the topic, we have two great people here with us. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ammar Al-Naimi. He's an author of fantasy novels with 3 books already published. He is a great voice for young Omani authors who would want to also start their career in writing. He's also the editor at the conglomerate based in Muscat. I'd also want to welcome on stage Vaishali Hamlai, who holds an advanced degree in human resources management. And Vaishali has published 5 successful books also about women in power. She is currently the head of HR department at a large business group in Oman. You can also follow her in her columns in the Muscat Daily called Beyond Words. So first we start with a career in writing has always been something that people contemplate from time to time. Everyone has a writer inside them, and everyone wants to express their experience, their story in lyrics. So we use the stage to Ammar to tell us what was the most essential for anyone to start his writing career.
All right, thank you. And now I have no audio. Okay, back. Okay. Again. Bismillah. Aywa, check, check. 1, 2. All right, I am back. Thank you everybody for being here today. Thanks. So the most important skill, obviously, you have to be really good at writing, and it takes a lot of time, and a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people have frustrations with it. Actually, that's something that I notice a lot. I've met people who write maybe twice as well as I do, and who struggle with getting their words out. They struggle with going to the next level, which is publishing or becoming a content creator or going into editing and all of that stuff. So step 1, practice. Step 2, having whatever urge it is that makes you continue and which makes you then distribute whatever you're producing to other people. I think that's step 2. Shall we have something?
Writing as a career
there are two ways to do it. One, you can do it professionally. You can go and study journalism. You can take career in media. You can take courses for any writing courses. Like there are master's degrees you can do. There are bachelor's degrees you can do, and then you can take it the other ways. You take an internship somewhere, which can help you head start with your career in writing. And the third one is totally freelancing one, the one that I took, where I just went with my heart. I decided to just pen down a few things, and it just started rolling into 5 books out there.
A lot of people say you can learn how to write, but you can't teach it. Now we're in an education setting, so once and for all, is that true or not? Can you?
No, I don't think so, because you can learn as well as you can teach. So a skill set can always be taught. A skill set can always be taught you step, as you said, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, any profession that you take, some of them, sometimes you are involved with the quality, you have the innate quality, and some you don't have the innate quality. However, it's not hard to develop it. So if I'm born with the innate quality, I go with it, it works for me. My effort might be 10. Somebody who's not born with an innate quality will initially might take an effort of 100. But it's very easy to come out because it's a process, right? At the end of the day, it's not only about the passion. It's not only about putting words over there. It's about the dedication of actually doing it every single day of your life. Because passion can get bored. Passion is very interesting. Till it's in the state of passion, it's great, it's amazing. You feel really good about it.
Yeah.
But the moment it becomes a monotony, it starts hitting you and you don't want to do it. It's all about consistency. So yeah, you can teach a skill set.
A story about that is, for the longest time, I started writing or practicing to write. And about, I would say 2012, 2013. And I had that mentality where, like, no, I'm not gonna go and learn a course. I'm not gonna go to university for this. I'm gonna practice every day. And 10 years later, I've learned things, yes. But recently, last week, a popular author, Naaimi, she came here to Moscow and she was doing a session. And so they asked her, how did you get so good? And she said, oh yeah, a lot of writing courses. And now I feel like I wasted a few years of my life painstakingly learning something that could have been taught to me.
Yeah, I think it's just one addition to the other, right? Like, so if you feel you are writing fiction, you could attend workshops, you could read books, you can do a lot of self-learning nowadays on YouTube. There are courses all across the place. There are free courses from the best of universities that you can go and attend, you can read. So if there is a goal, it's easy. If there is no goal, like if I say I'm going to write a book in the next 2 years, I'm going to submit my manuscript in 6 months. If there is no goal, there is nothing to really look forward to. So, yeah.
I think I attended one proper course, and it was by an Omani author, she wrote الدردشات. And I went there, again, not believing in it, just because I loved her writing, and so I just sort of wanted to hear. And 3 days just completely changed something. It was very similar, actually, to the change I felt when I started publishing. Because what you do is you write, and then you keep it in your pocket, or you put it in a drawer, or you put it somewhere. And so you never get that feedback. And so you have no idea if you're good or not. 2019, I started writing journal from Tiny Tales and publishing them on Twitter. And it was the feedback, the people saying, oh, no, this sucks, I hate this character. Do this, do this, do this.
It takes a lot of courage, to put yourself out there and give out your script or whatever, right? And to show, so this is one of the other skills that you need to have. Gather your courage and show your work to someone. You have to be ready for criticism. You have to be ready to, to take it, to accept that nobody is perfect. You need to find what skills do you need to, work on. And I want to add one more very important skill, which sometimes we miss it. Reading is actually one of the most useful skill to do, and the art of good reading will help you become a better writer, because when you start to read, even if you're not sure about your language, the vocabulary, what ideas you want to express, the more you read, the more you will be flowing in writing. So it's a very important skill to add on to water your mind with a lot of books. And it comes the second question. If somebody
I'd like to ask.
yeah, sure.
You touched upon criticism.
Yes.
You can criticize your
Of course.
However, in a creative profession, it's very easy to criticize because everybody is different creative. So my idea of creativity is very different from somebody else. So when it comes out as a criticism, I look at it as that, okay, that's his creative idea of the way he looks at this particular character. That is, I look at it this way. But criticism is just part and parcel of life.
It is a skill, right? I mean, yes, I 100% agree with you. Tastes have something. Today, when I go to my Goodreads page and I open Sodom, Sodom is the first novel that I published. I open the page of Sodom and I can point towards reviews which say this is the worst thing I've ever read. And then I can go scroll down a bit and then there's a 5-star review saying, oh, you changed my life, I love character X, this is so cool. So yes, tastes matter. On the flip side of that, writing is a skill like any other. When you start, you're not going to be good at it. Unfortunately, you're going to have to build that skill set. Well, how do I order these words together? I would love to say to Stephen somebody, hopefully white, said that the art of writing is the art of thinking in the right way. Because once you think properly, the words just line themselves up. When you begin, it's not going to be good. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to allow yourself to grow. Because if you're restricted, especially for a perfectionist, it's going to sort of look against you. ينقلب الساحر على الساحر, as we would say.
So it's important to be strong when you are determined to be a writer and to have all the right skills to start your writing career. And I wanted to ask you as authors, if you want to write a specific genre of books, is it important to only focus on the same genre you're planning to write, or is it better to have like a more wider perspective on other genre and to be open to other genres, or just to be super focused on how certain genres succeed as books?
Well, I go as per my heart. I follow what I want to follow. Usually I write fiction and that works best for me. And I don't think you choose a thing. You write it. For me, so when I'm writing a book, I look at first what comes to me is the soul of the book. I want to convey this particular sentence or this idea or this particular imaginary picture to my audience or to the people who are reading my book. And then it can be any genre, it doesn't matter. The story just flows in the way you want to flow it. But what matters is what you're trying to put across, what you're trying to tell to the readers as your moral.
Another important thing is that some authors, the way they write books is more, even if it's not your genre, and it's not something that you would be interested in reading. I mean, like for example, I'm not into horror books anymore, or certain types of nonfiction. But some authors have marketed themselves very well, and they have attracted a lot of people to read the genres that they are writing, even though it's not your thing, but it's just a great book. And that is something that always takes a lot of skill to reach to a point to actually open the gate for readers to explore other genres. So if somebody wants to start a career in writing, they don't need to find out which genre is most famous at the moment. They need to find what they want to write about and what is their experience, because at the end you are connecting with a reader as an author. So how is that something that you can simplify to somebody who wants to take writing or being an author as a career? So how can you just give them the confidence to express, like some people, they want to write about something, they might not have a story about how is it going to look like. So how do they start to plan to write what they want to express? Maybe they have a part of what they want to write in their mind. Maybe they have a heading. Maybe they have a good ending. Maybe they want to share something. So how do they find or explore which genre do they express themselves into?
When we started this talking about genres and how sometimes even if they don't write with them, so that person might write so well that they go, I'm sure you have it. So tell me, what did you have in your mind? What did you have?
So for example, if I want to become an author, I would make it something about like a historical event that happens, and put on to it how it's just affecting the reality now. But however, if somebody wants to express themselves and they could do it in a non-fiction form or in a non-fiction genre, so how would they find out which genre to join in to express what they want to say? They're not just going to write an essay about what their experience is, but if they want to join a certain genre, what would they like to, how would they find what genre is suitable for what they want to express?
If you're an essayist and author, if you love to fantasy, like you probably write one. I mean, I experimented with writing realism fiction, but I still like it very much. So it's not about you going, this is what I want to say, therefore the most suitable genre will be magical realism.
So you experimented first, but you didn't find yourself in that position to write in that.
Yeah, you just say write the thing that you like to write. If we're going to be very scientific about it, we have to say, I want to write about autonomy, and so because of that, I'm going to put it in sci-fi. I don't think it's going to work very well, because you're writing for function, which is very difficult to do. So it's so much smoother to write the genre like that. And unless you disagree.
No, that's exactly what I said. That it depends on what you love to write and how you love to write. You can convey the same thing in all genres. You can create a background story and convey the same thing. Fiction, non-fiction, historical fiction, anything you want. But it's about what is close to your own heart and what you think you can deliver the best, and what you think is close to your experiences that you can actually put down over there for the reader to experience what you are experiencing when you're writing at the best.
Just as an example, when I sat down for a talk, I really wasn't thinking about what I wanted to say about the world. It wasn't that. I sat down and I said, she was 10 years old when we first met students. And then as I continued writing and we got to this action and adventure and all of that, I started to realize, oh, I'm writing a story about a kid who really hates himself. And I'm writing about how he's trying to overcome that. And then at least in my style of writing, you get halfway and then you find out what the book's about. And then you finish it, and then you go back and fix your mistakes.
Okay. So you kind of reach to a stage that you find out during your process how the story is going to go, in which direction it's going to go. Great. And now talking about a more statistical way, a more factual way about writing. Now there are a lot of publishing houses here, publishing houses all over the world, and are more open now to read people's manuscripts. More publishing energy is going on designed for people to come up and publish their books. How do somebody who's based in Oman, who's Omani or expat, comes to approach publishing houses here in Oman, and how does the process go on if somebody wants to start right here, without going to international publishing houses?
Yeah, I have some strong thoughts, so I'll let you go first.
Well, I will speak from my experience.
Sure.
I'm an Omani writer. I have an international publishing house. First 3 books of mine were published by 3 different publishers. The last 2 books were published by exactly the same one. The next one is going to be published by, and the publisher who's publishing my book is among the top 10 in the world. So, but I think if you're asking about the struggle of finding a publishing house, be it in Oman or internationally, it's the first click. It's the first time when you are trying to go with your manuscript to, my first book I must have applied to 500 publishing houses. I must have sent in my manuscript at least. For 6 months, all I got was rejection letters. But, and this was like 16 years back, so I used to call them, I used to talk to them, and they used to be like, I'm sorry. I think after 8 months, there was a breakthrough, and there was a publisher who wanted to try it out, why not? And that breakthrough got me to contact the second publisher, third publisher, and the fourth publisher. So, and in Oman, it's very, again, what I understand is, it's very easy to find a publishing house if you have a story to tell. But I don't have an experience, so I will not be able to share that.
So, can you share with us the process?
Okay, I'll start with this. When we talk about writing a career, we're not talking about being a novelist. This is only here. You have so many different avenues. You're a columnist as well. I started my career as a journalist and a content writer for a company. So you have all of these different avenues. If what you need to do is to write and make money. Personally, I recommend those avenues because I think the latest statistic that I saw is that 0.01% of people get published. And then 0.1% of those people make enough money to make that their career. So it's not straightforward. So that's one. And then if we say lead journalism, lead content creation, lead marketing and popularity, lead being a researcher, I want to be a novelist or a book. There are 3 basic types of publishers. The first is traditional publishers. We're talking about the kind of randomness. But they do essentially, they say, let's see if your book is good. Once they look at your book, if it's very good, they'll say, okay, I'll give you a chance, and I will give you X amount of money, which represents a percentage of the book, and I will own your book. Great. The second type of publishing is on the extreme side of things, where you say, as an author, I am going to own my book, and I'm going to pay money to take it money. And we call that self-publishing or independent publishing. Most commonly nowadays, people publish independently through Amazon. But you can do it, I use self-publishing. So just by going to a publishing, a printing press, paying money, getting an editor, getting a cover artist, it's so hard idea. But the good part is that you own your book. And when you make a sale, you own all of that. And then there's a thing called hybrid publishing. Hybrid publishing, you go to a publishing house, and they're very likely to say yes. We will publish your book, but we want you to pay us. So that's the flip side. A lot of people find that approach not the best, I would say. because you're giving up your royalties and you're also paying money to the right? But at least you get the head.
But how does the do sales with the hybrid publishing? How does it work? If the author pays to get published.
There are two basic ways. Either they say we'll print 1,000 copies, we'll take 500 sell them on our own, you take 500 you sell them. Or they'll say, you pay us, we'll print it, and we'll give you a percentage of that book, but we own the book.
And do you have like a limit on how much gets printed? As an
It
author?
depends on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
It depends on a case-by-case
Because
basis.
if they can print it, they own it, they can print as much as they want, right?
Yeah, but then you have a recurring yield on whichever number. Like it's by batch. Now I would say I dislike hybrid publishing enough, and unfortunately that is the model that we have in the Middle East. I dislike it enough that even when I had that opportunity, I said, I'm going to, invest in it. Yeah, I see if you want to be an author and you have a book and it's very close to your heart, be very careful. You don't want to essentially sign a deal. So you have to have that release.
That sounds great. And
Strong transfer.
No, actually, in fact, that's very true. And a lot of publishing houses do this. But I also wanted to add into now, so a lot of publishing houses have started providing ebooks. So they will say that, I don't think we are willing to give an investment to print a book for you. Plus, we are inviting a big publishers. So right now, we like the book, we like the concept, we like everything about it. We do our basic editing from our end, and we will apply and we will put an ebook out. After a year, we will look at the sales of the ebook or audiobook, whichever they select, and based on that, we decide if we go for a print or not. So that's one of the new ways that we are trying to do it. So whether it's a win-win for both parties.
that sounds interesting as an approach for writers. And as Ammar also mentioned, if you want to become a writer, and if you're choosing it as a career, you need to find more than one channel to use your writing skills, as you said, through columns, through blogs, through writing for organizations and business, right? So that if you want to depend on that, you cannot be stuck to one channel, as there's a lot of competition. The second question I would want to ask, and it's very important nowadays, the emergence of AI and how AI is becoming kind of a double-sided sword for anybody for authors, for writers, for somebody who wants a career. Now they have an even bigger competition. They have a wider, types of authors that want to join into this industry. How do you see the future of writing as a career in the light of this big breakthrough to do with AI and technology? Somebody can go right now and start asking an AI bot to write a children's book and use this kind of author's style or 3-4 author styles and write a very scripted, very articulated book and can copy it and sell it or start selling it. Also, there are AI illustrators, AI editors. There's a lot of now we are in a time that this is kind of a serious challenge, and at the same time, it's not something it's not something you can kind of hold back or cut back. So, how do you, as authors of the AI era, see the future of writing as a career? I have tried writing a book for my daughter using AI because she cannot get enough of books and she gets, I want more stories. So I told her, let's write a story about a little girl called Diane who has you know, she was very tiny and she's very small. And I got like 5-6 pages of a very interesting story. It does have a dead tone to it, and I'm not gonna say it was amazing, but it has potential to have, and it's, of course, AI is getting better every day. It has potential of being, you know, something. I mean, you find some books that are on the shelves and they're not that good either. So there is a competition.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked you is I've used Midjourney for photographs, and essentially what he ended up doing was there was this major design. We had a graphic designer do the design, and then there are pieces which we filled in using Midjourney. And that's how I sort of view artificial intelligence being used in writing as well. You can, as you said, go to a ChatGPT or whatever it is and say, toolbox nowadays. And you say, hey, I want you to write me a story about X, Y, Z with a mixture of Stephen King and Brandon Sanderson. And what you're going to get is not going to be good. So being able to leverage artificial intelligence to then fill in the gaps would be maybe the way that it's going to be used in the next 5 to 7 years. After that, I really don't know. Because I've seen examples of people trying to use artificial intelligence to write a full book, and it just does not work. In the same way that yesterday I tried to, because I can't draw, I was like, oh, I'm imagining this scene, let's see if I can get it through an artificial intelligence tool so that it can draw it for me. And it just was not great. So in the near future, I don't foresee AI being a writer, but it can definitely help. It can give you ideas or
make the writer's you know, job easier.
Speaking of Nadi Okarapor, she was talking, this was last week, about writing, and she said, oh, you only really start writing when you're rewriting, when you're editing. That's true in writing, and maybe that's how you can use AI. You do a terrible first draft, and then you go in and you fix it.
So,
yeah.
Well, I think you used the word that the writing is very dead. Sure, AI is going to take part of not only writing, it's going to take part of most of the jobs. It's going to do the job of what a robot will do and give you the basics in place. It surely lacks the human touch. It lacks the connecting. In the morning, I wanted to write a letter to my daughter's school. Let's try AI, and I gave in a few keywords to them, and it was, firstly, it didn't sound like me. I couldn't relate to it, and it sounded too perfect to be true. Too inhuman. It felt like the best of the words, the best of the sentences, all the correct punctuations were put in together, but it just didn't have a soul, it didn't have a feel. I had so very bad with my memory, so I tend to forget my own stories. So my second book, my third book, just some days back, my publisher was like, please give me a summary of your third book. It's going to be a tough task for me. So my daughter's like, don't worry, we just put it in AI and the summary will come out. Okay? And AI couldn't, because firstly, it's a huge book. It's got like 70,000 words. Even though I tried to put it in phases, the summary that came out wasn't what I was trying to anyways say in the story. So, sure, it can do the job, but how well it can do the job, how well it can deliver what needs to be delivered correctly, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I can't imagine an AI writing a book, like for example, Elif Shafak's 40 Rules of Love. And it's a poetic book. It is a poetic book that takes you across times, across words, beautifully written and articulated. It just fills your soul, literally. I don't believe AI is a great tool, and we should, use technology to our benefit and our service, but it shouldn't ever wouldn't ever replace the creativity of humans. So yeah, I agree with both
like
of you.
as he said, I mean, it's a great aid. It's a great, like if I'm thinking of something and I put in AI and I look at their ideas, and it's a great avenue to think with a different perspective, perspective, but it's not necessarily always correct, of course.
So to sum up, because we have like 5 minutes to go. If somebody would want to be a writer, and he or she is still contemplating about this, how would you tell him what things what were on your mind when you started contemplating, and what are the right things that happened in your mind at that time before writing that made you go for it, as something that you said, I'm just gonna do it? What are the words that came, or the things that happened for you as writers and writing great books to get it started? Because once they start, it's just like you have 3 and you have 5 books, and I'm sure you guys are already rolling. So what is the first events that happened in your mind and in your life that made you determined to get this on with and continue with it?
Well, for me, it was a process. I started writing human resource columns because there were a lot of theories that I wanted to I thought I was Philip Butler at one point, and I can write the 3 C's and the 3 4s, and like I was in that zone, that okay, this is the way it should be done. I was a young employee working for a HR company, and I was like, okay, it should be this way, this way, this way. Let me put it down in steps for everybody. Let it come in the HR magazine.
This is my gift to the world.
This is my gift to the world. Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know, I know it. So I was in that, in that era, in that zone, and I always wanted to say something. I always wanted to correct the system. I always wanted to make something better in my head, at least. So that's how I started. But so it started with columns, and I felt obviously the whole feel of seeing your name and your article in a magazine it's something you can't really compare to anything else. So I think that's what got me going, and it's just, for me, it's easier to write than to speak.
Yes.
So I can communicate better when I'm writing.
Yeah.
I can express better. I can edit better when I'm writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that was always the goal.
It's great.
Mine was a bit more sudden, and I'm glad. I see the story a lot, so maybe people at OBLC and those people who are alive know it, but this is the story along with somebody who was there at the time. It started in 2012. I was a student living in Germany, in Marburg, as Asad here knows. And one day I was addicted to a book called The Name of the Wind by Patrick. And it was a beautiful book. Oh, the way he writes that first chapter, you would not believe it. I remember being on a bus in Marburg with a friend of ours, Asad, and I was telling him about this book. I was telling her, Patrick is amazing, the way that he likens life to a flower being cut. It's just incredible the way he writes, the way he imagines. He's the best, he's amazing. And I remember the bus was just rolling down. You know how rocky Marburg is. And she said to me, oh, Ammar, if you love books so much, why don't you write one? And I told her, that's impossible. And then I started thinking about it. Why was in order to write a book? Well, what you need is 3 things. You have to be really good at the language, and my English was okay at the time. So I said, okay. You have to understand the rules and the methods of writing, and you need to practice. And I said, great. I've read a lot of books, and my English is okay. So all I need is the practice. Let me just give it a try. And I went to my dorm It was right next to Philip. I was living with Philip at the time. And I remember the sun just streaming through the window and me opening a notebook. Paper with
Dear exhibitors and visitors,
Okay,
thank you for being a part of Edutrac Oman
Alright.
Day 1.
Just need
We are now closed and look forward to seeing you tomorrow
Please.
at 9:30 a.m. Kindly proceed to the exit. Thank you and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
So I open this notebook, I take my pen, and I begin to write. And I think the line that I wrote was, the boy woke up from his bed and slammed his head on the bedboard. And I remember going, where is this guy? What is happening? And I just continued writing because I didn't know who the character was. And I kept writing and writing, and I got addicted to it, and I could not stop. And I think maybe a year after that, I had a book, and it was terrible. It was horrible. It doesn't exist anymore. Because when you start, you are bad. But the point is,
You started.
You started, and I discovered that this is something that I could be addicted to.
Yeah.
This was my obsession. And as I continued, I think that I got a little bit better over time. And alhamdulillah, the rest is history. And I'll just mention the friend on the bus, Rima. So we also ended up getting married later.
Oh.
Was it happening? Oh yeah, sure.
Awesome.
No, I think it's good. There's an entire style of writing which is based on this. A lot of young adult and urban fantasy are based on using the slang of the time. And publishers don't like it because they don't want you to date your book, because they want you to be able to sell it forever. But I think it's fine. There's a whole tradition of Sudanese authors writing a mixture of traditional Arabic and their slang, and it works. I think it's fine. It's the same thing with the people.
Egyptian authors as well.
Hmm.
Most of Arabic, they
Yeah.
switch dialects.
They call them code switchers, by the way. It's such a cool name. It's the same thing that I believe about somebody. I don't know why they say this. Do you think that people using social media is going to make them worse writers? No. People are reading so much more because they're using social media. So as long as you have that balance, you're going to be fine.
I want to thank Ammar and Vaishali for this amazing talk. It's very insightful, very amazing ideas, how to start, and I'm sure a lot of us are now even more interested in pursuing this career as a writer. And I thank OBLC and Edutrac for this opportunity to carry on this discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Yeah. They want to take a group photo. So everyone who wants to join, please join. Yeah. Yes. Because you have listened to whole conversations, we would like to have listeners also.
No.
Ritu?
صورت اياهم